Please be seated. Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the 56th commencement at Bard College at Simon's Rock from wherever you are joining us, here in the tent in Great Barrington, in the Daniel Arts Center, home via live stream. My name is John B. Weinstein, and I have the great honor of being the provost and vice president of the college. It's an honor to be with you all today to celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates. It is a complex time, to say the least, in the world today and here on our own campus. And I hope that we can dedicate the next 2 hours or so to focusing on these amazing, brilliant, creative young people and all that they have achieved over the past 2, 4, or even 6 years here on our beautiful Great Barrington campus. While I too will try not to dwell on the reality that this is our last such commencement here in Great Barrington, it would be odd not to acknowledge that is the reality upon us. Throughout the past 7 months, since the announcement of our move to Messina, I've drawn upon my own academic background in Asian studies to help me process this change. One concept I've taught in courses here over the years is the Japanese traditional notion of aware. Both an emotion and an aesthetic, aware celebrates the sadness we feel when experiencing something beautiful. Think of the cherry blossoms that bloom so briefly in the spring and that play such a vital role in Japanese culture. Right? Their intense beauty actually derives from our knowledge that they will have fallen and withered soon after we enjoy their beauty. I will say when I first started teaching the concept, I used to think of aware as very negative. But over time, I have come to realize that moments truly are all the more beautiful when they are more fleeting. That is how I've approached a year when time and time again, I wanted to be able to truly enjoy an event that I knew would be the last of its kind. That is how I approach today as well. That has also sustained me as we've lost key members of our Simon's Rock community from the past 50 plus years. Early in 2025, we lost Peter Cox, faculty in political science, who always demanded the best from his students and inspired them to rise to the challenge. The rigor that Peter embodied is something I want to bring with us to our new space. I also want to bring trust. And no one embodied trust more than Ba Win, who we lost less than a month ago. Ba Win, longtime dean of students and provost, was a fundamental figure in the history of Simon's Rock. He was actually the first person I met here as he chaired the search committee that hired me back in 2001. I learned so much from Ba Win, but most important was that we trust our students. His word, said time and time again, it is that trust, not rules or punishments, that guide our work. A point he made explicit as the Simon's Rock model of early college as we expanded to the public sphere under his guidance. The graduates we celebrate today could not have achieved their academic and personal successes had we not trusted that they would and could. I'm now pleased to welcome to the podium Jamie Clark, alumnus and chair of the Bard College at Simon's Rock Board of Overseers.
I want to welcome all of you, including President Botstein, Provost Weinstein, faculty, staff, administration, parents, friends, and fellow rockers. I too am a rocker. Just a few short years ago, I sat right there in front, waiting for my diploma and send off into the world, and it worked. Congratulations to all of you who are about to graduate today. It's a job well done, and you should be really proud of yourselves. But at the same time, I ask you to take a moment to remember and thank those around you who helped you on this journey, especially your parents, but also friends, siblings, mentors, all those that have been there for you and helped you get to this momentous milestone. Today is a special commencement. Not only will all of you graduate into the next phase of your lives, but Simon's Rock itself will also move on to a new and exciting phase of its existence. Before doing so, however, Let us all take a moment to reflect on what this special campus has meant to all of us and the memories that we've collectively created in this place. It has been a remarkable run in Great Barrington. Thank you, campus, for the special times and giving us the opportunity to enjoy your natural beauty and unique spirit. Those of you who are about to graduate feel uncertain about what will happen next. Let me assure you it will all work out. Enjoy the ride for all it's worth. And whatever your field of interest, I urge you not to be shy. Go forth and unashamedly change the world. That's what rockers do, and we're all rockers. Thank you.
Please now join me in welcoming a special speaker, Emily Fisher, Chair Emerita of the Board of Overseers. Please come to the podium, Emily.
Thank you. I love this college. I've been involved here for 42 years, first as a mother of a student, and then as a member of the Simons Rock Board of Overseers. For you students who don't have much interaction with us, a Board of Overseers or a Board of Trustees is made up of a group of adults, often graduates of the institution, who are authorized to make decisions on its behalf. The Simons Rock Board has worked diligently these past few years to ensure that the decisions we made to move the college were carefully thought out and in the best interests of the college. It is as both a parent and a longtime member of the Simons Rock Board of Overseers that I'm here today. This campus is a special place, but it's not just a beautiful place of land with classrooms and dorms, with an athletic center and a performing arts center. It's special because of the energy of the students, faculty, and staff, the commitment of everyone to engage, learn, and share. It's the relationships formed and cherished over 2 years, 4 years, and beyond. We can be proud of our accomplishments here, of taking this novel idea of going to college after 10th or 11th grade to programs into city high schools and universities across the country. However, for the past decade, we've been experiencing the same problems that are causing so many good liberal arts colleges to fold. It's the higher costs needed to maintain our campus and the drop in the birth rate causing an unsustainable enrollment. For several years, our Board of Overseers has been discussing our options for survival. Last year, after finally agreeing that we had to sell this campus, we spent many meetings discussing our options for the college. Most of the board members are alumni, so they each had their own memories of the college. Should we just close down? Should we find another location? Or should we accept Bard's offer to move to their recently acquired Messina campus just down the road from Bard? Some thought we should shut down the college altogether. One member said that Simons Rock had a secret sauce, and that we could never replicate it. We could never offer the experience that he so cherished. Other members agreed. And when we asked them what was in the secret sauce, they described feeling seen and valued, having easy access to conversations with faculty and staff. For the next several meetings, we talked about how we could make that happen at a new location, until we finally agreed to move the college to Bard's new Messina campus. Our move to the new campus will take our secret sauce and offer our students exciting new opportunities at Bard. If you're a good athlete, you can play on Bard's sports teams. If you're a fine musician, you can join the Bard orchestra or chorus. If science is your passion, you will have access to advanced labs and scientists. I am excited about Simons Rock's next years. Those of you who are moving with the college will be pioneers, the first class to transition from our small liberal arts college in the Berkshires into a new Simon's Rock College in the Hudson Valley, a college that welcomes curious young students and combines the very best of the early college with the opportunities of a respected, internationally known college. I look forward to the 2026 graduation and reunion at our new home and to hear from you how the first year went. Congratulations and best wishes to you all.
It is now my great pleasure to introduce this year's commencement speaker, Chloe Domrovsky. I first met Chloe my very first semester teaching here on campus when I was a brand new faculty member who was new to the Simon's Rock community and didn't really know how things went. Chloe was one of those fabulous sophomores who knows everything and totally helped me acclimate, and I had the great pleasure of working again with Chloe in projects when she was a senior. Since that time, she's done quite a lot, and I'm going to give you just a short version of her very impressive resume. And I do, again, want you to note things to do with the degree in European Studies and Theater, and I think there might have been some other concentration in there, too. So for those who are out there thinking, I know my child just studied these things, I don't know where that's going to go. When I last saw Chloe here, I was directing her singing the signature song, Ladies Who Lunch from Company. This is what happened since then. Chloe is now an experienced executive leader with a career advising Fortune 100 companies, startups, consortia, and government on all aspects of emergency management. Recognized for her forward-thinking approach, she leverages present market fundamentals and technological innovation to drive transformation across industries. From 2017 to 2024, she was the president and CEO of Disaster Recovery Institute International, the global leader in operational resilience and business continuity training and credentialing. Under her leadership, the Institute doubled in size to support over 20,000 certified professionals in operational risk, business continuity, and cyber resilience across more than 110 countries, including at 95% of the Fortune 100 and 60% of the Global 2000 companies. She's currently executive residence in global business and economy at New York University, where she oversees research on topics from geoeconomics and weaponized interdependence to emerging advanced technologies and cryptocurrency. She's also the founder of Edgewood Insights, an advisory firm at the nexus of risk and resilience. Please join me in welcoming Chloe to the podium.
Thank you. It is an honor and a privilege to be here to address today's graduates. 20 years ago, I walked in your Birkenstocks, shoes. I graduated in 2005. Graduates, please raise your hand if you were born in 2005. Okay, a few, but nothing like an early college to keep you humble. I would like to thank the devoted, tireless faculty and staff, the parents, friends, and families, Dr. Botstein, Jamie, Emily, and everyone on the Board of Overseers who have given so much of their resources, time, and dedication to this institution, and among whose ranks it was a privilege to serve from 2019 to last year. Above all, I would like to thank Provost John Weinstein for this invitation. As you all know, his energy and creativity are inspiring, but as he mentioned, I actually knew him way back when, during his first tenure here at Simon's Rock, as a charming young professor, and we even worked on several theater productions together. Now, friends, he has made many courageous and hard choices as our leader, but they all pale in comparison to bringing a musical, even a Sondheim musical, to this campus. That was truly a daring act of courage. In preparing for this speech, after a prolonged period of dwelling in the paralysis of unrealistic expectations, I did my homework. Like any good student does, I asked ChatGPT to write it for me. No. I watched famous commencement speeches, but Winston Churchill and Taylor Swift don't need to tell you who they are. I tried searching for brilliant commencement advice from non-famous people, but the algorithm had no idea what to do with that. It gave me Katie Couric and Michelle Obama. If they're not famous people, friends, I am in trouble. Finally, I spoke to my stepfather, Walter, a sage retired professor with a wizard-like white beard who has seen many a commencement and who advised me quite simply to tell you my story. So, I started to think back to my time here, and at first I was embarrassed by how naive, impractical, and inefficient my decisions seem from today's vantage point. When I woke in a panic after not having completed this draft, or maybe from listening to too many podcasts about how AI god machines and oligarchic overlords are going to render us all obsolete by next year anyway, I realized that maybe finding the meaning in the hopeless imperfection may be the point. I see that it is the very humanness of my story that matters. When I reflect on my winding career path, I start to see the through line. I see how choosing this unique school, surrounding myself with like-minded, stubborn, different people who are not afraid to ask questions, helped me to shatter the low expectations put on a young woman knocking on the door of a good old boys club. And in a world that is changing more rapidly than in any other age of technological revolution, these things that mark us as different are more important than ever. They are our humanity in all its glorious inefficiency. Because ChatGPT can write an essay for you in seconds. An efficient output, to be sure, but it cannot do the learning for you. It cannot take you on the journey. And that is the outcome that makes us grow. It is the process that makes us effective. Efficiency is no guarantee of efficacy. So, my story. My parents were Serbian immigrants whose families landed in the United States on grounds of religious asylum. They were raised in a small pacifist sect, which is not an easy position in the Balkan powder keg. America offered safety and opportunity, but it is not so easy to navigate a new culture without a local support structure. We moved around a lot, which isolated me from the kind of community support that might have helped me to find a more direct path. I was bullied pretty badly, as the bookworm who read Little Women 15 times, wandered the woods like Eowyn, battling imaginary orcs, and skipping class only to head to the library to check out books on Elizabethan history or the science of hemophilia. This is a safe space, right? I hope so. My beautiful big sister back there is still embarrassed about it, but she eventually married a rocker, so I guess she came round. But back to me. After living in 5 towns across 3 states, my mother, sister, and I moved to South Egremont, and I enrolled at Mount Everett. They didn't have a formal relationship with Simon's Rock like they thankfully do now, and they didn't quite know what to do with me, beyond having me skip 6th grade and then pretty much leaving me to my own devices and the support of a couple of excellent teachers. I knew Simon's Rock was the place for me since then, but there was no Bard Academy at the time, and I had to wait to apply until the ripe old age of 15, so I wouldn't be a total social pariah like, Ronan Farrow, who actually did enroll at 11. Ronan, if you hear about this, please don't research a tell-all book about me, okay? Halfway through my first year, my mother moved to New York for a job, so for the remainder of my studies, I stayed with a series of wonderful family friends, served as an au pair for a time, and even walked to campus. Uphill, both ways. Actually, on Hurlburt Road, this is actually true. Until the day I was old enough to drive a car. As a day student, I missed a lot of the formative experiences that one has on campus. The late-night confessions in Crosby, the endless video games played in Dolliver, and whatever happens in Kendrick stays in Kendrick, right? It was here at Simon's Rock that I finally started building a community of my own among curious, sharp minds in search of a different experience. But they were an intimidating bunch who all seemed to know a lot more stuff than me, especially those poli-sci kids who actually understood, or at least seemed to understand, pretty much everything. But I showed them with my work ethic. I triple majored. I may have been the reason they stopped allowing this. Worse, all the majors were impractical, so this is where I give thanks for my 1 in a million supportive mother and her patience with my bullheadedness. The first major was European Studies. It sounded funny back then. This included my languages, French and Spanish, as well as pretty much everything I studied during my year abroad in Paris. Today, I provide geopolitical risk advice to a public French company on their global advisory board. Beyond the obvious criteria, there was another perhaps less obvious reason that I was chosen to advise alongside CEOs of public companies and retired ambassadors, because I speak French, a skill that made the French executives more comfortable with me in the social context that surrounds the formal meetings, the sidebar chats, the long drives out to visit the new hydrogen power factories or whatever we were doing. Shout out to the luminous Marianne Tebben, who I think I saw back there, for introducing me to Sartre. Yay! Tutoring me one-on-one through the plays of Molière, and graciously serving as my thesis advisor. The second major was literature. The legendary Hal Holliday was known for saying a C for you, a B for me, an A for God, and Shakespeare. This is before all the great inflation stuff. With all the arrogance of youth, I decided to take Shakespeare with him in my first semester anyway, an experience worth every bit of that B+, even if that grade still rankles a bit. Hal was also known for completely rewriting your essays in the margins of your paper, which was an incredible teaching investment of time and energy. Today, I deploy these writing skills for my regular Forbes column. Shakespeare it is not, but I use what I learned here to apply my curiosity systematically and with rigor to the topic at hand. I also got this post in the first place via a contact from the Simons Rock Alumni Network. Gen AI may be able to write a job application for you, but I'm here to tell you that I have never gotten a job from an application. They all came through conversations, through people, and through having the gumption to raise my hand and say, how about me? The last but most visible major was theater performance, the least practical and yet somehow the most useful major of all. This is where I learned these so-called soft skills, which are totally undervalued. Even dubbing them soft makes them sound kind of irrelevant. Do you know how to listen and how to communicate when it's your turn? You learn that in improv or you lose your pants. Do you understand what motivates people? How to read the subtext? That's scene study. Do you understand the shape you make in space? I studied this in viewpoints, in clown class. How can you use this position to position yourself for success and to actualize the impact you want to make? On my very last day of classes, with no job and no prospects in sight, the Chester Theater Company actually came to Simons Rock to audition the theater graduates for their young company, and 4 of us landed offers. I jumped at the opportunity to make $150 a week, share a small house in Westfield, the Bestfield, Massachusetts, and live off 10-cent ramen. 6 months later, we decided to form our own company, ultimately leading to a successful off-Broadway show and landing us in This Week in Theater and a rave review from the New York Times. The real joy of this experience was that I had the privilege of building something original alongside my best friends. As all theater was, it was temporary. We brought humans together in a room for the thrill of a shared passing experience. No phones, no TikTok algorithm, just community. This experience took up fully 2 years of our lives and all of our rocker creativity. To this day, these are still my best friends. And most beautiful of all, our children are now forming friendships of their own. And then it ended. And I went back to auditioning for a bit part in someone else's vision. This was not the inspiring Simons Rock theater bubble of headlining Tennessee Williams suddenly last summer, or taking on Portia in The Merchant of Venice, or Sarah Katzoff's thesis, in which I played a Markenflacker with no lines, but with a killer pair of zebra skin stiletto heels. No, the fare on offer was more prosaic. One day, I showed up to audition for, of all things, a toothpaste commercial. In the waiting room were 50 other blondish girls in white t-shirts all wearing red lipstick. And it dawned on me. I was completely and totally replaceable. So where was my meaning gonna come from? It certainly wasn't gonna come from selling toothpaste. It had to come from me. I had to find out what was irreplaceable to me. And then the irreplaceable came along in human form. As you know, the dating scene at Simons Rock is small and, well, complicated. And later, when the social ranking question of where did you go to college inevitably comes up on dates, that too is complicated for us. When I met my future husband, Jason, I sighed and geared myself up to launch into it, but he cut me off. Yeah, I know Simon's Rock. Graduates, I was speechless. It turns out that he attended the summer writing and thinking workshop and credits it with bringing him out of his shell. I prefer not to clarify whether it was the discussions of Nietzsche or the late-night skinny dipping in Lake Mansfield that did it. Perhaps it was the late-night discussions of Nietzsche while skinny dipping. He is a man of many talents, a liberal arts-style portfolio career, and the person I can reliably go to on any subject, from politics to sports to arts to anxiety. I can't think of a better role model for our two beautiful sons, Emmanuel, petit oui, 4 years old, and baby Walter, who's just 2 months and in the little baby carriage. I worked a great number of random jobs in this period: a costume shop stitcher at Shakespeare & Company, a substitute teacher. A harder $50 a day has never been earned than by a 19-year-old college graduate trying to exercise authority over high schoolers. A traveling Dove spokesmodel in a Walmart near you, to this day the most grueling job interview I have ever had, but in which I observed the daily rhythm of communities and learned to talk to strangers. Also how to buy khakis. Eventually, I found a personal assistant agency on Craigslist. Yep, and they shipped me out to the Disaster Recovery Institute International, the leading nonprofit professional association that helps organizations prepare for and recover from disasters. We provided training services in operational risk, business continuity, pandemic preparedness, very important these last few years, and cyber resilience, primarily for financial services, tech, healthcare, government agencies, including many central banks and consulting firms. I thought I was going to work there for 1 day. 9 years later, I was the CEO. I started out assisting the then executive director. As part of the deal, he would take me out to lunch whenever I came to the office. This was invaluable because I got a much-needed free lunch, and also because I got to ask questions about what mattered to the company. What was he worried about? How could I help? I listened and learned that DRI had been founded and governed by narrowly focused, highly technical industry professionals whose skills were very different than mine. I could be a gap filler, connecting the dots and communicating the value proposition. They actually needed a generalist vision. And here I was in my Shakespearean hero cape, liberal arts grad to save the day. I developed a passion for the work of protecting our communities from the impact of crises like hurricanes, terrorism, and cyber attacks. The mission imbued the sometimes boring daily work with meaning. Jumping in with both feet, I proved myself by figuring out problems and proposing solutions that I could provide. Was I good at languages? Yes. Did this mean that our call center head, a beauty queen with a thick Arkansas accent, and our Dominican bookkeeper in New York would use me as a translator because I could understand both accents? Yes. We were negotiating contracts with partners to introduce our training courses abroad. Did I know that South Africa is not in Latin America? Yes. True story, folks. Did I think to Google stuff I didn't understand instead of pestering the boss? Yes. Graduates, not everyone is a rocker out there. It's amazing what you can do by showing a little entrepreneurialism and initiative by thinking critically and creatively. A few months later, we were doing strategic planning, and I pitched that someone should be dedicated to the international practice full-time, as it had much more potential. I did not expect that they would offer it to me. I was 23. But they did. And I became Director of Global Operations, working to grow our presence outside the US to 40% of the business in 5 years, and acting as our international spokeswoman, a role that took me to dozens of countries across 6 continents. In that role, and later as Executive Director, I used all those theater and liberal arts skills to give presentations, to initiate conversations with strangers in the conference coffee line, to capture the attention of policymakers so they would understand the importance of our mission. I used them to generate media attention on a shoestring budget, landing me on every major network over the next few years to help bolster the personal preparedness of the public. In 2017, I was elected by the board in a unanimous vote to serve as president and CEO, the youngest and first woman since the organization was founded in the 1980s. During my tenure, we doubled in size to support over 20,000 members across 110 countries in the public and private sector alike, including at 95% of Fortune 100 companies and 60% of the Global 2000. We led the global conversation about how to plan for our darkest times and how we can safeguard lives, livelihoods, and communities to build back better for a more resilient future. During the COVID-19 pandemic, our work became more visible and more vital than ever. I got to build a relationship with the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction with the goal of leveraging the private sector to reduce disasters, and then filled a similar function for the US government as a member of the FEMA National Advisory Council, which advises the FEMA administrator on all aspects of emergency management. I was honored to serve my country and support the cause of national preparedness and resilience. Until at least we all got doged. One of the most difficult struggles a human will face is knowing when to walk away. Last year, I made the excruciating decision to step down from DRI. Change, while challenging, is essential for continued growth. I made this decision for many reasons. Primarily, it was driven by the belief that new leadership would bring fresh perspectives, ideas, and energy to propel the organization forward while building on a foundation of strength. On a personal level, being chosen to lead was the honor of a lifetime. But careers are long. To everything there is a season, and part of leadership is knowing when to change with that season. To figure out what's next, I first found my way back to the classroom. As executive in residence and professor heading the global economy concentration at the NYU Center for Global Affairs, I am building on this work in expansive, exciting, and challenging ways. From an academic perch, I can spend time researching how to bring the future forward and to better understand how systems respond effectively in crisis, work that feels all too meaningful these days. Careers are a marathon, not a sprint, and different priorities will arise at different points along the way. In a polycrisis world, big changes are coming, but out of chaos comes opportunity. So it is essential to stay curious, keep learning, and figure out how to be useful so that you can be the one to seize it. It is learning itself that you must learn to love. It may not be an efficient process. It certainly wasn't for me. But it has never been more important to do what is hard and what may feel inefficient, because it is the journey, with all of its trials and tribulations, with all of its profound humanness, that makes the meaning. None of us came to Simon's Rock to live a conventional life. We're not conventional. We're rockers. We question everything. How will you define success? Will it be because you got a good job? In another 20 years, will we even define ourselves around work anymore? How will you define meaning for yourself and help your community to find it as well? What matters most is what we do with these ephemeral moments that we build together. How do you show up for the people in your life? Do you make space for community to take care of someone? Maybe do it right now. Maybe give the person next to you a consensual hug, a smile, a pat on the back. You all can do it too, I promise. It's not hard. A machine can't do that. Nothing is eternal, not even this beautiful campus and the rock for which it is named. Today we say goodbye, but these traditions will be carried onward to a new home on the Messina campus and onward in our hearts. Let us take a moment to listen to the birdsong and offer gratitude for this place that held us through so many years of learning, reflection, and growth. And so, my dear graduates, my fellow rockers, we don't know what the future holds. All we can control is our preparation for it and our reaction to it. Cherish your inefficiency. Seize the moment of joy. Stay present. Stay curious. Keep learning. Savor this day because it is yours. Graduates of 2025, congratulations.
From the graduates of 20 years prior to the graduates of today, Valeria Pavlik will now speak on behalf of the Associate of Arts degree recipients. Valeria, please come to the stage.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Valeria, and I'm also really honored to be a speaker graduation. But to begin with, I would like to acknowledge that it's hard to call a new place home, but I can proudly say that I can say that about Simon's Rock. It's hard to believe we are here, not just because we made it to graduation, but because today we celebrate a bittersweet moment. For some of us, it is first graduation. Congratulations to you guys, and congratulations to all AA degrees graduates. For many of us, we are also saying goodbye to a place that shaped us in more ways than we expected, and where the geese clearly held more power than some people. This place is sadly closing. For me, this journey to today's graduation didn't just begin with starting college. It began with leaving home. 3 years ago, I left Ukraine. I said goodbye to everything. I arrived in a new country, and the one I didn't fully understand yet, and I was trying to figure out where I belonged. Starting over isn't easy. There were moments of loneliness, culture shock, and fear. Not just fear that what I left behind, but fear that I wouldn't find a new place that felt like mine, or felt like home. I didn't think I would have another prom or homecoming, but here we were, getting dressed with girls in Crosby while blasting Verka Serduchka and taking thousands of pictures. I have barely danced in my life, but I went to an interest meeting of dance concert workshop in my first semester here, and I never once regretted it. The dance community in this college is so special, honestly. You have to meet each of them in person to truly understand what I mean. I had the time of my life pretending to have a fight and slammed Juan on the stage with consent, or do both to fireball. Here's a question. Why did we run into the woods at midnight or swim at Mansfield at 5 a.m.? Honestly, no idea. But it felt right, and that's kind of the logic that you develop at Simon's Rock. Attending Dollar Jack after a full day of work, somehow I'd leave the APC with more energy than I walked in with. Singing Disney songs with Christina at open mic, even though I don't have the greatest voice, I did it anyway. Because if you can't embarrass yourself in front of your college friends, are you even living? So many amazing people surrounded me here. Shout out to all my Ukrainians. We've been through chaos, heartbreak, and the weight of war and distance, but still found ways to laugh. For so many of us, Simon's Rock wasn't just a school, it was a refuge. Some of us came here carrying grief, fear, or the weight of complicated pasts. Some of us left behind homes we can't return to, or the homes that never felt safe in the first place. And somehow here, among the woods, the strange schedules of shuttle and strange traditions, we found something like peace. This place became a shelter. Not perfect, not permanent, but real. We found a place who listened, who laughed with us, cried with us, and danced with us. I traveled with them across the country on every break I could. I've seen so many places, but in the end, it was never about the locations. It was always about the people. Or maybe sometimes about the locations too, thinking about legal drinking age in Puerto Rico. So let me tell you about people of Simon's Rock. Eve, thank you for grounding me when I felt like I was falling apart and celebrating with me when I found my strength again. Steve, thank you for being my lifeguard buddy, a coworker, and an unofficial life coach who knew that one of my closest friends would be a retired professor I saw at 6:45 a.m. every week at the pool. You and Ron showed up to our dance concerts like proud uncles. That meant everything. I also want to thank Nicholas for showing up always, like at that night at 4 a.m., lowering the wood kiln when he brought chicken legs, seasoning. It was quite surreal and somehow perfect. Even Ben and Harry had some, because of course at Simon's Rock, a moment like that just makes sense. Few months ago, I was stressed about getting a summer job. I was at the car getting ready to work out when I got the job offer from that summer camp I really wanted. I ran to James, my boss and aquatics director. I ran to you screaming like I'd won the lottery. You were happy for me, and in that moment, I didn't feel alone, even though my family was across the world and my friends were just in the bathrooms. I was really excited when I was applying to be a graduation speaker, but I barely told anyone, and the moment I got an email from committee, I was at the dock. Well, like always, I ran to find someone to tell, and it was Dan Karp. I ran to him yelling, "Dan, guess who is giving the graduation speech?" And as my former photography professor, he has always been kind, always asking how things are back at home, and even once offered to write me a recommendation letter if I ever ran into trouble with my legal status here. Now that's a professor that got you back. Sherry from the bookstore was always there too, whether it was listening to me or Stasia rant about the political state of the world, or patiently nodding while we tested every single hand cream and declared how amazing it smelled. I didn't just come to bookstore to buy things. I came to hang out or to feel heard. The morning after we found out who would be running the country last fall, I was so pissed off. But I went to breakfast, and the person who met me there was Jessica. I was crying into my pancakes, and you gave me the tightest hug and reminded me that people here really do care. Thank you to every single staff member on this campus. You kept this place running, and most importantly, you kept it human. Every time I left for break, I felt like I was going through a withdrawal. I missed the people, the routine, everything. Once, I had planned a trip for 5 months to see Avatar: The Last Airbender concert. Great show, but as soon as I came to New York City, I got emotional damage. I got to my hostel room and suddenly felt so sad. I hadn't seen the girls for just a couple of hours, but I already missed them. All I could think was, I don't want to graduate. I want to stay with my college friends forever. I don't want to grow up. My best friend Reagan texted me this during that moment. Life is going fast. Sometimes it's really hard to take a step back. You still have time before you graduate, and your connection to your friends will only grow stronger. No matter how far apart you are, you can keep in touch. And at every step in life, you get to meet more people, make more friends, and learn how to thrive in new environments with new people. Thank you, Francisca. Thank you, Mileta. And thank you to every professor I've had. And even the ones I haven't, because trust me, I've heard a lot about you. You're all amazing. I only wish I had the time to thank each of you by name, out loud, because every person, whether it is a professor or a student here, has made this place what it is. So to everyone here, I hope you grow. I hope you find new homes wherever life or wind takes you, and I hope you stay brave, even when starting over feels hard. This may be our last day as students on this campus, but it's not a goodbye. Дякую and thank you.
Thank you, Valeria. And now, Syed Sarash will speak on behalf of the Bachelor of Arts degree recipients.
Good morning, Simons Rock. Greetings to President Leon Bastian, Provost John Weinstein, Vice Provost Susan Lyon, faculty, staff, families, and all who have gathered here today. And of course, to my fellow students, my classmates, my friends, congrats. It's an incredible honor to stand before you on this momentous occasion as we celebrate not just degrees or diplomas, but the journeys, struggles, and triumphs that brought us to this day. Let me begin with a verse that has stayed with me from Rumi. گر در طلبی لقمه نانی نانی گر در طلبی گوهر کانی کانی این نکته اگر امر بدانی دانی هر چیز که اندر پی آنی آنی which translates to, if you seek a morsel of bread, you are the bread that you seek. If you seek a gemstone from the mine, you are the mine. If you understand this subtle truth, you know whatever you pursue, you become that in time. This verse speaks to what this moment means to me, and perhaps what it might mean to many of us. My journey began in January 2020 at the American University of Afghanistan. I started with a dream of becoming the next leader in my country. I was full of hope and ambition, ready to begin the life I had dreamed of. But just over a year later, the world around me collapsed. When the Taliban returned to power, what followed were days of fear, uncertainty, and displacement. And yet, through the chaos, I found a lifeline, an opportunity to continue my education at the American University of Central Asia in Kyrgyzstan. It wasn't easy being far from home, from my family, in a place where everything felt unfamiliar. The language was different, the culture was new, but I found something essential: safety, a place to rebel. Although I was safe, I knew this was not my final destination, and it changed again, just after 3 years. After arriving at Simon's Rock, I wasn't sure what to expect, but what I found here was extraordinary. The path at times was long and often difficult, but it was also shaped by something stronger: hope. Hope to rebuild, hope to keep learning, and hope to create a future, not just for myself, but for those I had to leave behind. Every step of the way, education gave me a reason to keep going. The support I received from faculty and staff was beyond anything I imagined. My professors believed in me, my peers welcomed me, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I belonged. Education became my compass, my anchor, and the voice I carry into every room where my voice continues. I remember the bright summer days last year, laughing with friends on the green, having conversation late into the night, sharing meals and stories. It was during these moments that I realized Simon's Rock is not just a college. It's a community of thinkers, dreamers, and kind hearts. It gave me a place to feel safe and a place to grow. Here at Simon's Rock, I discovered parts of myself I never knew existed. I found a passion for photography. What began as a hobby became a powerful form of self-expression. Through the camera lens, I learned to see the world and myself differently. I also found doors opening professionally, thanks to the future fair and guidance I received. I secured a full-time position at AIER after graduation, something once felt far beyond reach. Perhaps most meaningfully, I found the confidence to take on a research challenge that spoke directly to my roots. For my senior thesis, I built the first AI-based sentiment analysis model for Darwin news articles. This project not only reflected my passion for artificial intelligence and language, but also my desire to support the voices and narratives of Afghan communities. In creating tools for a language that's often overlooked in global technology, I realized that education is not just a path to opportunity. It's a way to give back. This journey from Kabul to Bishkek to Great Barrington has changed me. I have grown stronger, more focused, and more resilient. I carry with me the pain of loss, but also the power of perseverance. I'm proud of who I have become. I'm proud of who I have become. I'm proud of my family who supported me through it all. And I'm proud of the friends and mentors who lifted me on the darkest days. Graduating this May is more than a personal milestone. It's a testament, a triumph over adversity, a living reminder that no matter how uncertain the path, there is always a way forward. And this message is not mine alone. It belongs to each of us who have faced the unthinkable and keep moving away. Before I close, I want to express my deepest gratitude to my mom, to my brother, and to my family. Your strength carried me across borders, and through heartbreak, I would not be here without you. To my professors, thank you for believing in me, even when I struggled to believe in myself. To my friends, you made this journey joyful and meaningful, reminding me every day that I wasn't alone. To the faculty and staff, you created a community of care, and I carry your kindness with me. And a special thanks to my advisor, my colleagues at AIR, QSAP, and to my manager. Each of you supported me in ways that made this journey possible. In giving back to the community I come from, I have come to realize knowledge isn't just something we gain, it's something we are meant to share. Today may be a farewell, but it's not the end. Simon's Rock, our college, will continue to shine through each of us. Wherever we go, we carry its values: curiosity that challenges, courage that endures, and compassion that connects. We are the legacy of this place, and the world will know Simon's Rock through the light we bring into it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Syed. I now ask Brendan Matthews, Dean of Faculty and Curricular Development, and Christy McMorris, Dean of Studies, to come to the podium for the presentation of academic prizes.
Thanks, John. These students have been recognized for outstanding achievement by the faculty in their respective academic divisions. And when your name is called, please come to the stage. For outstanding achievement by graduating AA students in the Division of the Arts, Bohdan Lastochkin and Olga Borovets. For outstanding achievement by graduating BA students in the Division of the Arts, Oscar Hurst and Lydia Helmstadter.
For outstanding achievement by graduating AA students in the Division of Languages and Literature, Evelise Bradley and Max Doak. For outstanding achievement by graduating BA students in the Division of Languages and Literature, Tulliver Lines and Sunny Sullivan.
Okay, for outstanding achievement by graduating AA students in the Division of Science, Mathematics, and Computing, Kent Nakai and Eric Chen. For outstanding achievement by graduating BA students in the Division of Science, Mathematics, and Computing, Sophia Kranz and Sophie Salisbury.
For outstanding achievement by graduating AA students in the Division of Social Studies, Rosalie DeGlees Moore. And Jade Moore. For outstanding achievement by graduating BA students in the Division of Social Studies, Joe Ravis and Zephyr Sizzler Dubitz.
And for outstanding achievement by graduating BA student in Interdivisional Studies, Josephine Bonsu.
Okay. And now for the awards that the students present to some of us up here or out there. Each year, the senior class, on behalf of the student body, presents a series of awards recognizing faculty and staff. The first of these awards is the Dr. John A. Glover Award. Established in 1985 by Teresa Glover and her daughters, Sarah, class of 91, and Elizabeth, class of 92, this award honors the memory of an outstanding scholar, teacher, mentor, author, and editor. It is given each year to a Simons Rock faculty member in recognition of knowledge of subject, love of learning, excellence in teaching, and dedication to students. Daniel Cabada and Joe Ravis will announce this year's recipient.
I'll keep it brief because I think Daniel's speech is going to be a bit more interesting, but those who have had the great privilege of taking classes with this person will find this award unsurprising. This person's classes consistently bring out the best in students, pushing us to always think more deeply and critically about all kinds of social structures. In Jewish tradition, there is a blessing given for secular scholars. Blessed is the Lord who has imparted wisdom to flesh and blood. And I would say, not only is this person worthy of such a blessing, but she and the wisdom and scholarship she has brought to Simons Rock are a blessing in their own right.
Thank you, Joe. First and foremost, I just want to thank God for giving me the chance to work with this individual and to be able to honor them right now. To be able to stand here and present this award to this individual means infinitely more than receiving a bachelor's degree. The Dr. John A. Glover Award is given to a faculty member of their knowledge of the subject, love of learning, excellence in teaching, and dedication to students. This year's recipient has continued to not just exceed these qualifications, but has committed themselves to constantly redefine them. Now, if I can direct a few words to the recipient, you equipped me with the necessary skills to think and reflect critically. Working alongside you has fortified in me a deep love for the people. The culmination of your guidance rooted in love has flourished into illuminating dialogue. To quote Paulo Freire, dialogue cannot exist in the absence of a profound love for the world and for people. Love is at the same time the foundation for dialogue and dialogue itself. In your humility, you have trusted in the capacity of your students and allowed them to be co-creators alongside you. You are a true intellectual in every sense of the word. If I can close with this, when I was struggling to find the words to show the heartfelt impact they have had on my life, I stumbled upon a little book called The Black Girl with the Blues, written by Dr. Sarah Porter Liddell Montgomery. A passage within the book encapsulated perfectly what I've been trying to say from the start. For the sake of time, I'll quote the first and the last paragraphs. I'm counting my wins. I've spent too much time counting my losses, crying and watching others move on, move up, move out, and be renewed with energy I thought I'd never have. I stopped doing that. It's taken me years to understand that wins matter as much as our losses, and if we don't celebrate them, if we don't acknowledge them, if we can't see them, we will always feel small, invisible, and alone. I won today, end quote. I won today because somebody saw me and made me feel visible. My thoughts, ideas, and academic passions were valued and encouraged. I can close this with confidence knowing that I am not the only one that shares this sentiment. We all won today. Thank you.
This year's Dr. John A. Glover Award goes to Professor Francisca Oyogoa.
Hey, Francisca.
Sorry.
The Ruth B. Ide Good Sport Award was awarded by the Bachelor of Arts class of 1972 to recognize a staff member. Ruth B. Ide served as an administrative secretary at Simon's Rock from 1968 to 1986. Emmeline Rowan will announce this year's Ruth B. Ide Award recipient.
My speech is not quite as long, but the presence of this person in so many students' lives for brief moments and long moments, I think, has had such a positive impact on them. She has taken so much time out of her busy life to get to know every single student, at least in my experience, and she goes out of her way to make you feel comfortable and seen. For me personally, she will frequently comment on my makeup and ask me how long it took me, and will do everything she can to make me feel comfortable. So this award is going to my favorite dining hall staff, Sue.
The Richard C. Drum Senior Award was established in 2001 in honor of Dick Drum, a member of the physical plant staff who worked on the Simons Rock property for 42 years, first for the Hall family, then for the college. This award is given to a longtime member of the faculty or staff who has dedicated his or her their professional life to the college. Joe Sykott will announce this year's recipient of the Richard C. Drum Award.
Okay, I want to start by reading this email that I sent out to the senior class when nominations were going out. Hello, fellow seniors. You may not all know me as well as a student and a campus safety officer. I always work while you are asleep. But I wanted to ask you all to consider Leela Miller for an award this year. I'm sure you are all aware at this point that Leela and myself are all that's left of the campus safety team that you all know in your time here at Simons Rock. I obviously could not leave as I'm graduating with all of you fine people, but Leela is still here holding the department together and working her butt off to keep you all safe. Why? Because she loves the students and she loves this place that she's worked for 33 years. I have had the pleasure of working beside Leela for the past 5 years, and I can tell you that she would be deeply honored to receive this award, and she would treasure it always. In my opinion, there is no one more worthy of an award than her. Thank you for your time. Where are you, Leela? Oh, there she is. Leela. I have a little more to say. Leela, thank you for all that you've done for this institution. Thank you for training me, for your support and friendship over the years. Thank you for reassuring me that I can learn what each of our 3 pounds of keys goes to when I was clearly overwhelmed. Thanks to you, I will always start explaining where a key is on a ring with nubs up. And I don't think you're fooling anyone, including yourself, when you say, I'm not tired 3 times in a row. It truly has been a pleasure working beside you, even when dealing with the craziest of situations.
Established by the BA class of 2015, 10 years ago, the Wendy Schifrin Award honors Wendy Schifrin's legacy and commitment to Simons Rock. Wendy was a beloved faculty member who brought the joy of dance to many students. This award is granted to a faculty member who exhibits exceptional mentorship, not only to students, but also to other faculty, staff, and all members of the community. Chosen by the faculty and the senior class, recipients of this award demonstrate passion and care in their contributions to the well-being of their peers and colleagues. Zephyr Sisler-Dubetz and Kati Garcia-Renart will announce this year's recipient of the Wendy Schifrin Award.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Awesome. Okay. So John has said basically all of it, but the Wendy Schifrin Award honors a faculty member who exhibits exceptional membership to all members of the Simons Rock community. To better illustrate how wildly deserving this year's recipient is, it's beyond fitting that this person receives it. Like when Kati and I were talking about it, we couldn't believe that she hadn't gotten the award yet. So I have to talk about myself for just a moment. On August 30th, 2021, around 8:45 a.m., I was freaking out. I was tired, nervous, surrounded by strangers, and hungry. I hadn't yet adjusted to the early mornings a major in psychology would entitle me to, and I did not have the time or motivation to run to the dining hall. Deciding to get it over with, I walked to my first class, convinced I had made a mistake. None of my friends understood what an early college was. Why did I think I could do it? Thankfully, before I could continue catastrophizing, I stepped over the threshold of the lecture center. Something shifted almost immediately. The professor showed more excitement in her subject matter than I had seen in years. Doing high school via Zoom in COVID quarantine does not an engrossing learning environment make. She punctuated Freudian theory and neuropsychology with anecdotes about her cats, ex-boyfriends, and the very beginning of her incredible book. I was hooked on psych and irrefutably reassured that there would be good on this strange, beautiful campus along with the bad. The next 4 years passed in much the same way as I watched this professor extend help, compassion, and an incredible breadth of knowledge to all who crossed her doorstep. The gratitude that so many of us have for her can never be put into words, and I've tried for long enough. Kati, take it away.
All right, so some of you might have guessed who it is, but let's pretend you don't know, okay? So I can say what I want to say. So when I was a new hire at Simon's Rock, before the semester started, my first semester, I was scheduled to meet with the dean of faculty. She was supposed to give me the grand tour of the campus and help me get set up with everything that I needed to do before I began. And as fate would have it, that morning, my childcare fell through for my almost 3-year-old daughter. Now, some of you here know Charlotte, and I think you would agree that she's a rather decent human being. But when she was 3 years old, I just want to say she was really, really good at being 3. So I show up to the dean's office, my new boss, with my toddler. And I believe the dean said something like, "Oh, okay. Well," and that was it. She spent a couple of hours with me, showing me the proverbial ropes, walking the campus, all the time with Charlotte, toddling and interrupting. I will never forget that, because I was a nervous wreck. But as soon as I felt the kindness and warmth of Anne, that all went away. Should we ask Anne? Is as common a question on this campus as, "Is snack bar open tonight?" I'm not sure how this hasn't happened before this moment. Her devotion to the institution, colleagues, and students is unparalleled, in my opinion. She has been historically one of the first people I call when facing adversity. Her advice is always calm and rational, helpful and encouraging. Students love her, faculty love her, staff love her, and I love her. So it is an honor that we present Anne O'Dwyer with the Wendy Schifrin Award.
We've got one more. Established by the BA class of 2025, i.e. this class, the award for excellence in student experience is given annually by the senior class to a member of the college campus life staff, defined as campus life, wellness, health services, and library, who demonstrates exceptional commitment, innovation, and care in supporting and enriching the student experience outside the classroom. Lydia Helmstetter and Oscar Hurst will announce the recipient of the Award for Excellence in Student Experience.
This This award for excellence in student experience is being established by the BA class of 2025, and we will be launching a fundraising effort to formally endow this award in the name of its first recipient.
This award is designed to honor the legacy of a certain campus life staff member who has shaped the Simons Rock community as we know it. In her 2 decades here, her dedication to students, colleagues, and alumni has solidified her as a pillar of this institution.
She is so ingrained in every part of Simons Rock that keeping this award a secret from her was shockingly difficult.
Now, after all the secret communications it took to make this happen, we are thrilled to present this award to the one and only Valerie Fanarzian.
They didn't see that.
Okay. I knew that this year there were a number of retirements that had been on the horizon, and with the change in location, that may have shifted some of the timelines a bit. So I knew we were going to have many colleagues in the faculty retiring this year. At the final academic senate, I spoke at length about each of them because I knew today I wouldn't necessarily have the time and space to do that. So today, I will just very briefly talk about them, but I was glad I got to say more previously. Faculty who will be retiring after 29 years, having started in 1996, Nancy Bonvillain, faculty in anthropology and linguistics. Okay. Retiring from Simons Rock after 36 years as faculty in chemistry and mathematics, David Myers. Retiring from Simons Rock after 37 years as faculty in literature, Peter Filkins. And retiring from Simons Rock after 38 years as faculty in German and French, our longest serving current faculty member and faculty marshal, Colette van Kirkwerde. These are the faculty that I really looked up to as my models of what was, how to do this work when I first came. I'm so grateful to all of you and to all of my colleagues. Thank you. Well, I think now we're going to get to the part about giving out degrees and so forth. I think it's sort of an unwritten rule at Simons Rock that I can't do that until Valerie has yelled at me for something and Anna Dwyer has burst into tears, both of which have now just happened. So I think we're ready for this moment. Shall we do this, Leon? Okay. So I now ask President Leon Botstein to come to the podium and present his charge to the graduates.
So before we begin the process of giving degrees, I would like to ask the graduating class, whom I congratulate for their achievements and for graduating, to join all of us in thanking your family and friends, many of whom are here today. And I want to thank you all for coming. I want to ask also members of the graduating class, how many of you are first-generation graduates of a higher education institution? Please stand, please stand. The first-generation graduates. As you've heard, this is a special day because it is the last commencement we're holding on this campus as Simon's Rock moves to the Messina campus, which is on now contiguous to Bard. Simon's Rock has been part of Bard since 1979, and I remember very well meeting Elizabeth Blodgett Hall, the educator who founded this institution, who was a visionary educator who believed in the potential of young people, then called teenagers, who she felt were infantilized by the educational system. She invited me to visit her. She lived in the red brick house, and the first thing I recognized about her and her husband, Livingston Hall, who together made this institution possible, is that her attachment was not to a piece of land. She grew up here. Yes, she wanted the place named for a rock on the campus, which I always suspected had some theological basis. Simon's Rock, so possible. But she was attached not to the land, but to the idea. Her idea of giving you and your predecessors and your successors at Simon's Rock a chance at a serious education and at wonderful teaching by first-class faculty, and to be taken seriously as adults, as learners. That was her dream. And she felt it was in jeopardy, and she led the process by which Simon's Rock became part of Bard. And I'd like to remember her today because she would be thrilled at the continuation of this idea, and thrilled that without Simon's Rock, there would not be 10 Bard High School early colleges in the public sector in 6 major cities in the United States doing exactly what you have experienced. 4 in New York, in Newark, in Cleveland, in Washington, in Baltimore, and in New Orleans, and now 1 on the West Bank. So the idea of early college, the idea of replacing conventional high school, which was her dream, has really blossomed because of the achievements of Simon's Rock students now and in the past, and the faculty and staff. So an institution is not about its buildings. The Kellogg building that you see, was moved from the upper hill. It was a broadcast center of pro-fascist American propaganda during the late 30s and early 1940s. Who remembers that? No one. And so buildings can be transformed. Last Friday, I took a group from Bard. We did the memorial concert for the American victory in World War II on May 8th. And the concert was played in Nuremberg in the only remaining indoor space built by the Nazis to celebrate the Nazi Party in the great rallies in Nuremberg. But we celebrated something completely different. So buildings are not what we do. The educational experience is about people and about the relationships that you've now witnessed between your faculty and staff. So first, I want to thank all the staff members at Simon's Rock who've maintained this campus, have made this campus look beautiful, have protected it, and made the places safe for you, and have put their heart and soul in the beauty and the quality of this property. Join me in congratulating and thanking them. Then none of us as students or as faculty really realize that a place is run by people who are mostly invisible. They work in offices. They fill out innumerable forms from various governments, local, federal, international. They fight every day to keep everything and all the records intact and that everything gets done. And so we would like to thank all the staff of Simon's Rock who work tirelessly every day on behalf of the institution. And last and certainly not least, the retirements of our colleagues represent a tradition of teaching at Simon's Rock which has been unbelievably impressive. The ability to help the seniors do their senior thesis and the AA graduates to get to know them, to really show them respect and encouragement is a real calling. And not every scholar, not every scientist has the calling of being a teacher. But we've been very lucky at Simon's Rock to have sustained a very high level of commitment to teaching and scholarship. So I want to thank and join me, all the faculty at Simon's Rock. You'll bear with me for one moment because this is a moment of thanks. This college would not exist had it not been for Betty and Livy Hall. There are two people with us today who deserve equal credit. The first is the father of a graduate of Simon's Rock, longtime member of the Board of Overseers, immensely generous, a terrific classicist himself. He actually taught classics here, and I want to thank him for decades of support, and that's Robert Strassler. He serves as chair of the board, and he's entitled to remain seated because the other person I want to thank is someone you've already heard from and one of my dearest friends without whom we wouldn't be here today, and that is the longtime chair of our board, Emily Fisher. And in America, colleges are largely supported by the people who have a devoted memory and sense of gratitude to what happened to them. And our chair, who has led the process of moving Simon's Rock from Great Barrington to the Hudson Valley, has been our current chair of the board, an alumnus and a fantastic colleague and friend and supporter, Jamie Clark. Who comes to our meetings from Texas, which is itself an achievement. I also want to remember a couple of people who are no longer with us. One is Maria Leibowitz, longtime member of our board and supporter. Another is Eileen Handelman, mother of a graduate who is dean of the faculty and a distinguished teacher of science, an old colleague of Betty Hall's, who was in the founding faculty. But probably the person we need to remember most was mentioned to you at the beginning of the ceremony, and that is Uba Win, who was the first person I hired here together with Judith to become deans of students. He eventually became provost, and he was the spiritual center of this enterprise, in my view. He joined us in 2001 after serving for decades here to help establish the first public Simon's Rock program in Manhattan in the public school system of the city of New York. If there were any message I can give you, it is that his was a life that we would all do well to emulate, of generosity, of enormous care, without being in the slightest wishy-washy. And all early college graduates, in their end of their ceremony, which you will hear in about 20 or 30 minutes, is the ringing of a Burmese gong. And that Burmese gong, which resounds, is a spiritual gift from the Burmese tradition which he brought to the early college. And that will continue long after. And we hope to find ways to remember his presence and spirit. And I think all of us who knew him will agree that this is one of the finest human beings any of us could ever hope to meet. His tenure here was supported by one of the longer-serving provosts and heads of Simon's Rock, who I'm very glad is here, and many of us remember fondly. And he comes to us not from Texas, but from Chicago, and that's Bernie Rogers. Now, this commencement ceremony wouldn't be complete if we did not focus for 1 second, before we hand you your degrees, with the most important, as they say colloquially, elephant in the room. You are graduating at what may be the most precarious moment in American history regarding the future of democracy and justice and freedom. Improbably, perhaps, for many of us who are immigrants, for many in this space, we are at a time where the fundamental rights that are inscribed in the founding documents, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, are genuinely at risk. We're proud that one of our overseers is a federal judge who was the first to stop the president from overreaching his authority. I want to recognize her today, Lauren Ali Khan. She's on the board of overseers because she's a Simon's Rock graduate. This threat to democracy and to liberty is not a partisan matter. For those of you and the majority of Americans who voted for the president, you did so freely, using your best judgment. There should be no rancor about what happened. There should be no moral superiority about what happened. But it has turned out to be wrong and dangerous, and we all make mistakes. The task for us is to prevent the damage, temporary and permanent. It is not plausible to blame the universities for anti-Semitism, which is the oldest prejudice in Western history. It is wrong to assign disagreement to an entire enterprise of knowledge and research and teaching, which we are part of, which has been the secret for American economic and scientific success, a collaboration between government and institutions of learning, and to use the power of funding to invite censorship, the overturning of science, the destruction of rules of evidence, is not only improper, it is dangerous to freedom. If there is no basis for us to agree or disagree about what may be true, might be true, is true, and what is false, there is no future for democracy. That is the fundamental connection between freedom and truth. My message to you as graduates in 2025 is to remember the perception of one of the greatest liberal, democratic thinkers of the 20th century. Not an American, although he married an American. His name was Thomas Garrick Masaryk. He was the president of interwar Czechoslovakia, a nation that was created at the end of World War I. He died in 1937. He was an academic, a philosopher, and he created the only democratic, pluralistic democracy to be created by the end of World War I, where national status was given to a variety of different ethnic groups as equals. At the end of his life, he was interviewed by the great Czech writer Karel Čapek in kind of a book of opinions. And he was asked, he was not a particularly religious man. He actually converted, born a Catholic, became a Protestant. Great admirer of the United States. And Čapek asked Masaryk, so what's the basis of democracy? Why is democracy the right system? Why is the insurance of liberty, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, all the things that are in our Bill of Rights? And he said the foundation for all ethical laws and for democracy comes from something that you can find in the Bible. And he cited the 22nd chapter of the Gospel according to St. Matthew. And if you look at that, the Bible is the easiest book to obtain, either online or in hard copy. You'll discover that later in the book, there's a conversation between Jesus and the Pharisees, and a lawyer who represents the Pharisees. And the lawyer asked Jesus, so what is the most important basis of human law and democracy and justice? And he says, well, the first commandment, which is to love thy God. What's the second? He said, the second is the second most important commandment from which all human law must derive, and that is to love thy neighbor as thyself. Which is why deportation, whether you're documented or not, or closing our borders and expelling so-called foreigners is a fundamental violation of human rights, a fundamental violation of our democratic principles, and is intolerable. So I leave you with this message that given your education and your privilege, you must use it to fight for some recognition of right and wrong, the capacity to forgive your enemies, and to love thy neighbor as thyself, whoever that neighbor may be, especially if they don't seem to resemble you. Because the principle of democracy is that fundamentally, at the end of the day, we are all equal. Congratulations to you all.
President Botstein, I would like to introduce the Bard College at Simons Rock class of 2025. Will the candidates for the degree of Associate in Arts please rise? Mr. President, the faculty has determined that these students have successfully completed the course of study for the Associate in Arts degree. It is my honor to present them to you on behalf of the faculty of Bard College at Simons Rock.
This is a ritual. So, upon the recommendation of the faculty to the Board of Trustees and by its mandate, I confer on each of you the degree of Associate in Arts in course, with all the rights, privileges, honors, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Congratulations.
You may be seated. Will the graduates please come forward individually to receive their diploma as I call their names? Okay. Val Abate. Francisco Javier Andrade Mora. Nazira Askari. Finley Bach. Nathan Barron. Alice Billings. Olha Borovets. Evelise Bradley. Damian Brown. Christiana Cabral. Eliza Michelle Cepeda. Arko Chakraborty. Chun Zerhan. Cherednikova Solomia Olevina. Rosalie Deglise Moore. Olivia Hazmin Delgado. Jules Gehring. Awa Diop. Eliza Grace Grand Doucette. Emma Doucette. Charlotte Rose Garcia Renart. Nex Ginsberg. Olivia Hassan. Sam Hotzig. Christina Hyrasimchuk. Brooklyn Jack. William Judge. Brian Kalunji. Lucinda Burns Karp. Abigail Wagniko Kinuthia. Juwan Ko. Polina Kondratyeva Alexandrovna. Yanfei Lai. Lastochkin Bohdan Dmitrovich. Julian Linardi. Jishan Wu. Arthur M. Maya. Yevgenia Matvieva. Alex MacArthur. Wilkinson McAllister. Jade Moore. Kent Nakai. Grace Yambura Jage. Tommy Nordal. Oliver Nye Ducom. Grace Murade O'Callahan. Gilbert Otten. Pavlik Valeria Valerayevna. Rory Platt. Evelyn Powers. Anastasia Protsenko. Ray Evans Puentedura. Jacob Rodriguez. Mayan Rosenberg. Claire Rush. Anna Marie Schottmer. Shurchang Simon Shen. Margaret A. Sherwin. Simone Shea. Mia Stubner. Anna Mae Ullman. Ian Allerton Valdmanis. Jack Wong. Rahim Wakas. Yeva Wild. Nicholas Wu. Francis Zahner. Isabella Zeiset. Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts please rise? Mr. President, these students have successfully completed the course of study for the Bachelor of Arts degree. It is my honor to present them to you on behalf of the faculty of Bard College at Simon's Rock.
So these degree candidates get 2 degrees, one from Simon's Rock and one from Bard. And because the degree granting authority comes from New York State and from the original charter of the college, this, what I have to say, is in Latin. And Auctoritate mihi commissa te ad gradum in artibus baccalaureum admitto omniaque jura ac privilegiam ad hum gradum petitentia tibi concedo. In testimonium hoc diploma tibi solemnita trado, which means that I'm giving you the degree and all the rights and responsibilities by the authority vested in me. I want to congratulate all of you. You can follow their achievements because their senior theses are in the program, and so too are the advisor's name. So congratulations to the class of 25.
You may be seated. Will the graduates please come forward to receive their diplomas as I call their names? Josephine Bonsu. Daniel Kabata. Emily Faria. Kai Friedemann. Lydia Prentice Helmstadter. Oscar Hurst. Sophia Kranz. Tulliver Lines. Jaden Mack. Taya Morris. Nicholas Morrison. Raphael Isaiah Mostov. Joe Revis. Emmeline Rowan. Sophie Salisbury. Joseph Michael Sykott. Zephyr Sisler Dubetz. Misha Smirnov. Syed Ekbal Surash. Sonny Henderson Sullivan. Aurora Wenters. Jenny Young. Mr. President, parents and friends, please join me in recognizing the Bard College at Simon's Rock, class of 2025. Give me a moment. I now ask that our graduates stand and take a moment to celebrate and move their tassel from their right side of their cap to the left, right, celebrating the completion of their degree. Congratulations, graduates. All right. Thank you. Graduates may be seated. So soon we will be processing off stage, first the platform party and then the graduates. So if the wonderful viewers in attendance can wait till they've exited, then please join us out on the lawn for a reception. A reception, I might add, a few days ago with the weather forecast I thought would not be happening, but it looks like we have the sun, so yes. But before we do that, we are going to conclude our ceremony as we always do, and as President Botstein noted, we do at all of the Bard High School early colleges as well, and this is with the ringing of the Burmese spinning gong. This is a tradition that was brought to us by Bawin and has stayed part of our traditions and will continue to be moving forward. And so I would now like to invite Maggie Sherwin, who is the grandchild of Bawin, Nandi Ong and Thora Ong to the stage. We will close the ceremony with the ringing of the Burmese spinning gong. The Burmese spinning gong, or chidzi, is played at the conclusion of ceremonial occasions. The reverberating sound we will hear conveys our fondest prayers to the graduates as they make their way in the wide world, to those who could not be with us today, and to those we have lost. The gong will be struck 3 times, following the last echo of the gong, and the Burmese spinning gong does echo for a time, so this will be a time. Then the recession will proceed to the Blajet lawn, and may I ask that you allow the platform party and the graduates to exit first. So we will now conclude with 3 ringings of the spinning gong. Thank you.